Hello everyone, welcome to Indian Judicial Service. In this video we are going to discussing here Indian Contract Act 1872. This video is the 16th part of top 300 MCQ of Indian Contract Act, and those who are not watched the previous video, all the link of previous videos are available in our description box. And those who need the PDF file of this video series, the PDF file will be uploaded in our Telegram group as well as WhatsApp group. Link of Telegram group and WhatsApp group is also available in our description box. Please go and join these groups. Before starting this video, I request you please like and share our videos and please subscribe our channel. So without wasting our time, let's get started. Now question number 216. The bailee is excused from returning of goods. Option A, if there is a breach of warranty in respect of goods bailed. Option B, if the goods are seized by the government. Option C, both A and B. And option C, neither A nor B. So in this question, the bailee is excused from returning of goods if the breach of warranty in respect of goods failed, and in second condition the goods are seized by government. In both condition, bailee is excused from returning of goods. So answer of this question is here option C. Now question number 217. The gratuitous bailment is terminated. So gratuitous bailment is provided in section 162. Section 162 dealt with termination of gratuitous bailment by death. Now option A, on the death of bailer. Option B, on the death of bailee. Option C, on the death of either bailer or bailee. And option D, on the death of bailer and bailee both. So clearly answer of this question is here option C, on the death of either bailer or bailee. According to which section? According to section 162 of Indian Contract Act. Now question number 218. In case of bailment by joint owner. So the bailment by joint owner provided in section 165 of Indian Contract Act. So option A, the bailee has to deliver the goods to all the joint owners. Option B, the bailee has to deliver the goods to any one of, this is very important, any one of the joint owners with the consent of other joint owners. Now option C, the bailee can deliver the goods to one of, this is very important point here, one of the joint owner even without the consent of other owners. Option D, either A or C. So clearly answer of this question is here option D, either A or C. Means in the case bailment by joint owner, the bailee has delivered goods to all the joint owners, or in the bailee can deliver the goods one of joint owners even without, this is very important here, without the consent of other joint owners. So answer here option D. And this question related to clearly section 165. Now question number 219. A particular lien under section 170 of the act can be exercised. So this is very important question here. Has right to retain goods, this is very important word, retain goods until the receipt of remuneration for services incurred by him. So clearly answer of this question is here option A. He has right to retain the goods until the receipt of remuneration for services incurred by him. Now question number 220. A finder of goods is, so finder of goods is related to section 168. So 168 dealt with finder of goods. Is option A, entitled to claim compensation. Option B, entitled to retain the goods. Option C, not entitled to compensation and thus not entitled to retain the goods. Options D, both A and B. So clearly according to section 168, the finder of goods is not entitled to claim compensation, but he entitled to retain the goods. So answer is here option B. Now question number 221. A finder of goods is, so clearly finder of goods is provided in section 168, and a finder of goods is entitled to the specific reward offered by owner for the return of goods. So finder of goods is not entitled to specific reward. So this is wrong here. Option B, can retain the goods so long as the specific award is not given by the owner. Yes, the finder of goods is retain the goods so long as the specific reward is not given by the owner. And option C, both A and B, and option D, either A or B. So clearly answer here option B. Now question number 222. The pledge under section 172 of Indian Contract Act has been defined as, so according to section 172, pledge is defined as the bailment of goods as a security for payment of, this is very important line here, security for payment of a debt or for performance of a promise. So clearly answer of this question is here option C. Now question number 223. For the purpose of pledge, the delivery of possession of goods, so delivery of possession of goods has to be actual. So answer here option A. Now question number 224. In a pledge, the general property or ownership in goods, so in goods continue in pleasure. So answer of this question is here option A. Now question number 225. A pony, in the event of default in payment of debt by, this is very important, by pawner, has a right. So this question related to the right of pony. So the question related to the section 176. Section 176 dealt with pony's right where pawner makes default. So this thing is here. Now option A, to retain the goods pledged as collateral security. Yes, pony can retain the goods. Option B, to sue the pawner. Yes, pony can sue. Option C, to sell the goods pledged. Yes, pony has right to sell the goods pledged. So all these options are correct. So answer here option D. And most important section related to this question, section 176. This section dealt with right of pony where pawner makes default. Now question number 226. The period of limitation for a suit against pony to recover the things pledged is, so the period of limitation is 3 years from the date of pawn. So this thing is there, and it is related to the article 70 of Limitation Act. So article 70 of Limitation Act. So article 70 dealt with the limitation for suit against pony to recover the things pledged, and the limitation start from the date of refusal after demand. So this thing is here. So answer here option B. Now question number 227. The pony has a right to retain the goods pledged. So option A, for payment of debt, interest and all necessary expenses respect of goods pledged. Yes, the pony has right to retain the goods pledged for the payment of debt, interest and necessary expenses in respect of goods. Yes, it is correct here. Now option B, for payment of debt other than the debt in respect of goods pledged. So it is wrong here. For the payment of interest and necessary expenses in respect of goods other than, so it is also wrong. So clearly answer of this question is here option A. Now question number 228, and this question means previous question, and the pony has right to retain the goods related to the section 173. This is very important here. Section 173 dealt with the pony's right to retainer. Now question number 228. The pony has no right to retain the goods. Option A here, for payment of necessary expenses in respect of goods pledged. Yes, pony has right here. Option B, for payment of extraordinary expenses incurred in the preservation of goods. Yes, this is absolutely correct answer here. The pony has no pony has no right to retain the goods for payment of extraordinary expenses incurred in preservation of goods. So answer of this question is here option B. And remaining matter, pony has right. So option C, the payment of debt or interest in respect of goods pledged. Yes, here pony has right to retain the goods. So clearly option B. Now question number 229. If the pawner make a default in payment of debt at stipulated time. So first of all, important thing is there is a two important section. First one important section is section 73 and second one is section 176. 173 related to the pony's right to retainers and section 176 related to pony's right where pawner makes default. So these two sections very important here. So this question related to section 176. In this section, the pony's right where pawner makes default. So in this question, if the pawner makes a default in payment of debt at the stipulated time, so at stipulated time, the pony has a right to sell, this is very important, to sell the goods pledged after giving a reasonable notice of sale to the pawner. So answer of this question is there option B. Now final question of this video, question number 230. The goods may be pledged, so goods may be pledged by the owner of goods. Option B, by the servant in the absence of owner. Option C, by the person who is left with the goods for some special purpose, and option D here, all of the above. So clearly the goods may be pledged by the owner of the goods. So answer is here option A. So now we are going to finish this video, and if you like this video, please click on like button and please subscribe our channel. Thank you for watching Indian Judicial Service.